Okay. When and where were you born?
I was born December 4th, 1939 in Minot, North Dakota.
And where were you living during the 50s?
In Minneapolis.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did your mom and dad work?
My dad always worked, and my mom worked most of the time, but there were a few times when she didn't.
What were some rules of the house when you were growing up?
Rules of the house.
Like, did you have a curfew or?
Well, I know that there was no screaming, no running. Rules of the house.
Did you have to wash up for dinner?
I didn't have a curfew, but I always knew I better not be too late or I was going to be in trouble. And what was the other one that you asked me about?
Did you have to like wash up for dinner and
Oh,
stuff?
yeah. Oh, yeah. And had to do dishes. Most of the time I did the dishes. Sometimes my mom would wash and I'd dry them or whatever, because then you didn't have the dishwashers or or just set them in a rack to dry. You dried them, put them away.
How are women and girls expected to act? Like in the house and out in public?
Well, good manners. And I don't remember a lot of expectations. I just knew that I needed to be on my best behavior and talk nice and so forth. I know that there would be no swearing or anything like that. My dad swore. But Jim and I knew enough not to do it in the house.
Did you and your family attend church?
For a short time we all did, but usually it was my brother and myself that attended church. And sometimes our mom would come with us. And I remember I sang in the choir because I was hoping that that would make them come to church, because then they would want to see me singing in the choir. And they did. They did come some. And we were both Jim and I were baptized in the pastor's study after confirmation one time. And my folks did come to that.
Cool. Did you listen to rock and roll music?
Of course. Of course. I had a hi-fi, a portable one. And whenever there was a party, it was bring your hi-fi. And we'd play the music on it because it was portable, so it was easy to take to places, you know.
So in class we watched a documentary, and in it they said like rock and roll was like communist music. Do you agree with that?
I never even heard that before.
I didn't either until I watched the documentary.
Yeah, I've never heard that at all. I mean, communism was, you know, out. I mean, just, that was kind of a real taboo thing then for my family and everything, but I never heard it associated with rock and roll.
Did you live in the suburbs?
No.
What were your thoughts on the suburbs?
I don't know that I thought any differently of suburbs than I did of living in the city, because I'd never lived in the suburbs.
Did you like living in the city?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many cars did your family have?
Well, for a long time we just had one, and then we had two.
Did you have a television?
I saw my first television in 1950 when we moved to Minneapolis, and it was sometime during 50 or 51.